is Jim Ramey, and we're going to go over some of the tools and new features of DentiMax Advanced Imaging version 4. For those of you that have the DentiMax standard imaging, you'll notice that the screen looks quite different than the other application. This is a true Windows application. It's a menu-driven application where you've got the file, patient, database, and other menus across the top. The menus will change based on where you're at in the program, and we've also got a toolbar here, and this is completely customizable, which I'll get into later in the webinar. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand, and I will address those questions. A couple of the new features you'll see across the top. We have some new look and feel for the icons. It's been updated and modernized. We have quick capture layout buttons. So we have the most commonly used layouts up at the top, or layouts or mounts or series. So you can have your patient open, which you would access through DentiMax or your name grabber if you had a different practice management application. And then the name is at the top of the screen. Instead of the list of names, you have it in the title bar of the application. So you can just click on, say, 4 bite wings and click capture, and it'll begin. So it's a 2-click capture. It saves a lot of time and a lot of clicking and navigating through the program. That's an important feature. There's a couple of new types of series that I'm really excited about personally. If you go into the layout capture, there's the continuous series, and there's also the multiple PA series. And so first I'll show the continuous series. You select continuous series, and these are good for like endo procedures or maybe an implant procedure where you're going to take multiple images of the same tooth. So we can select a tooth here, and it will ready us for this shot for this tooth. I don't currently have a sensor plugged in, so I'm going to take an image from the file, from a file. So we'll say that this is the shot. And if I had a sensor connected and this was captured from the sensor, it would automatically go into the next file. But since I captured it from file, I have to simulate this. So it automatically goes to the next shot and would be ready to take the next shot. So I can do the same thing again. And it keeps going, and you can take as many shots of that same tooth as you want, and it's kind of an on-the-fly type of series that lets you take as many shots in one series as you need to for any particular procedure. And then when you're done, you just click done, and all of the images are saved in that same series. They automatically have the tooth associated. So you don't have to have a bunch of extra tiles or a bunch of empty tiles in your series. Is that clear to everyone? Okay, the next series that I want to show is the multiple PA series. This is another on-the-fly type of series that's kind of good for walk-ins. And let's say that I wanted to take a couple bite wings on this patient, and maybe a couple of PAs as well. So you select the teeth and in the order that you want to capture them in. So the first shot shows that it's associated with teeth 2, 3, and 4, 29, 30, 31. The second shot is with teeth 12, 13, 14, 19, 20, 21. My third shot is tooth 29, and my fourth shot is tooth 28. You click OK, you can click Start to capture the series, and it automatically goes through in the order that you selected. So the first two would be the bite wings, and the next two would be the PAs that we selected. So it's an on-the-fly series with exactly the number of tiles you need for that specific emergency or walk-in exam. So it's really a neat tool that's available as well. In addition to having those new tools available, of course, we can customize the toolbar and use those as a custom toolbar button. And so before, it was limited to what you could use in the customized toolbar or in the toolbox. And now every single item that's available in any one of the menus can become a custom toolbar button. So I'm going to add a new button, and this happens to be in the File menu. And if you see here, there's Acquire Continuous Series Capture. And then you can go down and select and you see we have a lot of new icons available for the different buttons that you can choose from. So for the for the continuous series, you can select any one that you want. So like I'll select just this endo just as an icon to use. Click OK, and then OK, and now we've got the continuous series. So with one click, you click the tooth, click Capture, you're off and running. So it's a lot less clicks, especially than the standard imaging, but now with the quick capture functionality, it's even less clicks with the advanced imaging. The same with the multiple PA. We can add that button to the toolbar, add a new button, select the category that it comes from, multiple PA capture. I can select an icon. And for this one, let's see. Let's just use the sensor icon for this one. And now we've got a multiple PA capture. So that's how we can have the new tools available to us. For those of you who haven't used or seen the advanced imaging, there's some really cool enhancement tools that are available as well. And we can combine different enhancements into one item called a macro. So I'm going to show you how to do an image macro. And again, with this webcast, we're going to go over some of the high spots. We definitely don't have time to go through everything, but I'm going to show you some of the cool features and tools that are available. So under image macros, I'm going to edit my macros, and I have a couple here right now. I have one that is lighten image macro. Right now I have it set to adjust the brightness contrast, but I'm going to actually delete this command, and I'm going to add a different one. I'm going to add the gamma correction. This is one that's used quite a bit. And for lightening the image, I'm going to choose, let's say, 1.4. And I can make this factor different, and I'll show you why this is important in a moment. So now we've got a macro called lighten. So I'm going to open this image. I'll make it bigger so everyone can see. So if I go down to the macro and choose lighten, it lightens up the image. Now, we can make this lighten as small or as large as you'd like, and the nice thing about it is you can run it multiple times. If you want to lighten it up even more, you just run it again and lighten it up even more. And again, to make things easier, we can create a custom toolbar button for that. This time it's in the Enhancement menu. And there's the image macro for the lighten that I just created. And we'll pick an icon that makes us think to lighten the image a bit. So let's try the sunshine button. So now that's the lighten macro. So now I can click that button a couple times, as many times as needed, to lighten up that image. And conversely, I can do the same thing with the darken macro. And these are just examples again. We can do all kinds of different ones. For the darken macro, I have a gamma correction set for 0.8, which will darken the image a little bit. So I'll make a toolbar button for that. Add a new one under the Enhancement menu. I'm going to choose the darken macro and an image that reminds me of that. How about the black circle? I'll add that one. So now we can lighten the image up and then also darken the image. And you can click it as many times as you need to get the contrast that you're looking for. This is really helpful for practices that use a handheld device like a Nomad or a Vioxx or one of those types of handheld X-ray heads. You're always needing to adjust the contrast based on the density of the patient's jaw when you use those types of devices. So it makes it really quick and easy, especially with how many steps it takes in the standard imaging software. With just a couple clicks, you can get the image you want, and then just click the Save button here, and it'll save that image at the contrast you want it to be at. Okay? Do we have any questions so far? Is everyone following along okay? Okay. I'm going to also show you one other that's really helpful for front desk type items. It's called an auto export. And what I generally do is I'll make a folder on the desktop. Usually this is for the front desk. It could be for your private office or the doctor, or even in the operatories if you send x-rays to others from any computer, we can set these up for you. So I'm going to call this exported x-rays for webinar. And now in the software, under the File menu, I'm going to go to Auto Export, and I'm going to create an auto export. So I'm going to call this a new one, and I'm going to call this Webinar Auto Export. Go next, and now we give it the path to the folder that we created so that we know that the images that we use with this are always in the same folder. So there's the exported x-rays for webinar. I'm going to select that folder, and I'm going to ask the software to create a subdirectory based on that patient information. I'm going to click Next. Automatically generate the file name. We can include the patient information in the file name even. And then we want to save it as a JPEG because that's the most common type of image, and everyone would be able to see that. So now you can use this for claims or for emailing images or anything that you need to do with that. I'm going to click Done. And now when I go to File, Auto Export, choose Webinar Auto Export, it says I'm in a series right now, so it's asking if I want to do the current image or the whole series as a combined layout. I'll do the whole series. Click OK. How large do I want it? OK. It's exported. Now when I go into the X-rays for exported X-rays for webinar folder, there's our patient, Paige Davis, and there's the images stored as a JPEG. This is how it will look on the recipient's computer when you send it to them, or for the insurance company if you're doing an endo procedure. Makes it very easy. Again, we can make this a custom toolbar button. So I am going to customize the toolbar, add a new button. Under the File menu, we've got Auto Export, Webinar Auto Export. I'm going to choose a button that will represent this, and I'm going to choose the email button. Click OK, OK, and now we've got that one. Over here at the tooth control, this is how we can see all the existing images for any given patient. So I'm going to click that, and these are all the images for this patient. I'm going to open up this image, click the Webinar Auto Export, and now in Paige Davis, there's that image as well. So it was just a single button click for that single image. When it's a layout, there's a couple more buttons, but a single image, it's one click, it sends it to the folder. So at the end of the day, you can clear this folder out. It's just temporary storage until you attach it to an email or attach it to a claim or upload it to the patient's document center, and then we're done with it. So you can just delete it and keep this folder nice and empty and clean so that each day's images are in here and it doesn't get cluttered and messy. Any questions about anything I've covered so far? Okay, on the toolbox, now this is completely customizable as well. Before we were limited to how many buttons could be added onto the toolbar, or the pop-out toolbox rather. But now this is just like your custom toolbar. It's the same custom interface that we had before. So for example, under the enhancement, we were using the gamma control before. There's bright gamma correction. I can just select the default image for the command and click OK, and now the gamma correction tool is there. So this is exactly the same thing as the one I did, except it's not preset. So you can use the slider to lighten the image or darken the image and see how far you want to manipulate the contrast of the image with the gamma tool. And we'll lighten this up quite a bit so we can see the difference. I click OK, it's applied to that image. So now you can see the difference in the contrast, and it can be easier to see carries in this type of a view than it might be in the darker view. You can be certain of what you're looking at. And this is available for any of them. Another one that I like is the duplicate button. I'm going to select the current default icon for that tool. And so now I can duplicate an image. And now this makes a pop-out, so I can come in and use my measurement label, for example. I can click and draw a line, and it gives me a working distance that's accurate to within about 1/2 millimeter to start my endo procedure with. So now I can use the calibrate measurement tool, and you don't have to go through so many clicks and so many menu items. I can draw from the stopper to the tip of my file, and it's reporting back 13.326. Maybe it's 13.5. I click OK. It updates that existing, and now I can draw from the tip of the file, and I can right-click to add points. And now it gives me the exact distance from the tip of the file to the apex, and you know exactly how far you have to go. And I'm also able to draw curves. And those buttons are right here on the pop-out toolbox. Okay. All of the same tools in the diagnostic toolbar that you're used to are also available. So I'm going to go ahead and undo the labels I made, and we've got the spot enhancer and the spot magnifier. You can double click to change the size of the circle. The spot inverter, double click, change the size of the circle. The colorizer, everyone either loves or hates that one. We'll make the very large circle for that one. We can also add any kind of label tools that you want to add. So in the labels, you might want to have like a freehand line. So if I click the freehand line, I get the pencil tool, and I can draw around something specific. And it pops up the properties of that. Under the label menu, we can turn off the prompt for properties. Once you have the properties for all the labels set up, you just uncheck the prompt for properties, and you can come in here and use that tool, and it does not pop up a second window. Of course, there's many others. And there's many more in addition to what's in the standard imaging as well. So you've got the ellipses, for example, that you can draw nice, good circles around items. We can add I'm under actions. I want labels. We can add text labels. So watch area. We can control the font and the size of the font. make it nice and easy to see. We can control what color the text is. And of course, we can move that around to wherever it is. Now, something that's not available in the standard imaging, when you go to export these images, the labels don't automatically stay with the image when you export an image. So let's take a look at that real quick. And you see the labels aren't there. And if in the advanced imaging, we've got a tool in the label menu called Merge. So if I select Merge All Labels, you see how they all became grayscale. And now when I export the image, we have the labels that stay with the image. So now you can include these labels with the image and email them to referring practices or to insurance companies that are asking for labels. I've had a few practices say that they needed to have patient demographic information and taken time and date, things of that nature, right on the image itself. And with the label tool and the merge labels, we're able to do that and to keep the labels with the image when they're exported or printed out. Are there any questions about any of this? Of course, we have the brightness contrast tool available. You don't drag directly on to the image itself, but you move the crosshair around on the image to get the contrast that you want, the brightness and contrast, up and down's brightness, left and right's contrast. So you can adjust that and then, of course, save it right from here. So it's much faster to do than it is in the standard imaging. Now, are there any tools or items that anyone's interested in that I haven't touched base on? Please raise your hand or ask to be unmuted so that you could ask a question. Okay, again, this is just touching on some of the new areas and some of the usability and ease of use functions and some of the diagnostic tools we have under the Actions menu and the Image menu and the Enhancement menu. We can create image macros or apply image algorithms to specific images. Create those as custom toolbar buttons to make them even more quick and easy to use. We have the quick capture buttons so that it's only 2 clicks to start taking x-rays in any series. We have the new continuous series and the multiple PA series. I just used gamma as an example with the enhancement macros. So we have a lighten and a darken button that allows us to manipulate the overall contrast of the image with just a click or 2 of the mouse. Auto exports, and the completely customized, updated pop-out toolbox that allows us to use any of the tools available in the program. So we're not limited any longer to which tools we have available in the toolbox. If there's no further questions, this will be the end of our Advanced Imaging version 4 introduction webinar. If you have any questions after the webinar, please feel free to email Jim@DentiMax.com, Jim@DentiMax.com. If you would like to purchase, you can always email sales@dentimax.com, or you can give us a call at 800-704-8494. And if you would like to have a private demo, you can always email me and schedule a time to do that. I'd like to thank everyone for joining today, and have a terrific day. Thank you very much for joining.